What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dark Side of Music. I am Harley and joined by Danny.
Hi, everybody.
This week we're going a little lighter than the previous 2 weeks. Danny, you probably have more experience with this than I do as far as lip syncing.
Yeah.
Have you done your fair share of lip syncing?
Honestly, I could say I've never lip synced live. The only time I've ever done it, and it's so weird, it's so difficult to actually do that, is filming music videos. It's the only time I've ever done it. And it's just like, I still end up singing. So like if we were doing that for a crowd, they would still, the front couple rows would still hear me sing, like regardless type of thing.
Right.
I could not do the intensity and make it look like I was actually doing it without actually, having stuff come out. Basically.
When you guys do the music videos, are the instruments actually playing too, or is it just it's just you singing and just quiet instruments?
Yeah, you still have the click 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 click,
right?
And then you have to like put pads on all the drums so that he can still hit it like at the same. We just did this for the Christmas music video.
Yeah,
it was like bizarre, and not only that, but we were in like a house, so like everything's bouncing off. So all you hear is like me just yelling the entire time. And the drums, but like super muffled drums, but that's it. So
what I would give for that raw audio, that's got to be so fun to watch.
It's locked away in a vault that no one will ever see or hear it.
I have never done it other than do you remember before TikTok there was like a lip sync app?
No,
it was such a short, it was such a short little period of time, where like you could click a sound and you had to lip sync that sound and it would make just this little video. And my wife and I used to do it. It was very fun, but it was such a short period. I mean, I was like 20, I think. So it was like 6 months of just me sending random videos of me lip syncing random scenes from shows. We did a lot of The Office. We did a lot of Scooby-Doo.
Well, see, that's fun. That's fun lip syncing and stuff like that. Like I could get into that because I think that would be goofy. That would be fun. I would be in. But like, thinking about it from a singing standpoint, I don't think I could make it look like I was actually doing it without actually doing it, because I don't think about what I look like when I'm doing it. Like you know what I mean?
Right.
And it sounds really weird to say it that way. I don't think about what it looks like when I'm singing. That's a little bit less of a odd way to say that. But yeah, I don't think I could. I don't think I could fake it to look like that.
Did you guys have to do like multiple takes at all?
Oh yeah. Are you kidding me? So the video is part performance, part storyline, and stuff like that. We filmed them in 2 separate days. So we filmed the performance day. That was it. And then we did all the scenes and stuff that we edited together. So we did the group one probably 8-ish times through the song.
Ooh, wow.
And then they took the camera, off the actual rig, and they're like running around with this like personal handheld rig. And they did like an individual 1 or 2 where they were only focused on one person, but everybody else had to play as if they were playing like normal, so that it could be cut interchangeably to like the solo shots and stuff like that. So then we went through like 2 of me, 2 of Justin, 2 of O'Neill. Like, yeah, it was. I never wanted to hear it anymore after that. Like,
that would frustrate the hell out of me. That's why I don't think I could be an actor. If somebody was just like, all right, I know you just read that, but let's do it one more time. All right, just one more time for me. All right, I know this is the 13th, but
at least they can ad-lib those kind of things. Like you hear all these cool stories where they do it a couple times and they like the way it's written, and then if it's like a comedic actor or
right,
like, then they get to ad-lib it 1 or 2 times, and everybody just has to go with it. Like that would be fun. But when you're doing a music video where the music is already there, you can't ad-lib anything. It's like this is it. Like.
Oh man, yeah, that would drive me up a wall.
Yeah. It's fun. I mean, look, it beats any other kind of job. So
Right.
like if I ever get lucky enough that, the band becomes the full-time job and stuff like that, you will never hear me complain. And I will make 50 music videos a year. You will never hear me complain. That's it.
Honestly, if I ever had to like script a podcast, that would also drive me insane.
Yeah.
Having to like read a scripted thing when we're just talking,
Well, clearly everybody can tell that we don't script this one. In case anyone's wondering. We got a little cheat sheet and that's about it. Like, but those are the fun ones. It's just a conversation. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So this week we're talking about one of the most famous lip sync. For a long part of my life I said lip sing. So I'm really trying to nail this. Lip sync episodes in music history. Millie Vanilli. How familiar with Millie Vanilli were you prior to this?
I mean, I knew of this and I knew of them because of this, and I knew one song by them, and not even because I thought maybe I knew the second one, but Girl, It's True. I know I've heard that.
Mm-hmm.
And I may have heard it when I was like really young, but like not during the time that it was like this whole thing was going on, but like I may have heard it that like at some point. But have you ever watched the TV show The Goldbergs?
Yes.
Do you remember they did an episode on this? That's where I really remember it from, which is I feel bad that that's where I actually like remember it from, but they actually did that in an episode.
Right.
So that's where I remember it from, like just most recently, I guess, because that used to be one of my comfort shows. I just put it on and let it roll through all the seasons and then start over type of thing. But yeah, this Millie Vanilli, was not a band I listened to, ever, I guess,
up until the Goldbergs episode. So before that, I genuinely thought Millie Vanilli was a lady. I thought it was a one lady. I was convinced that the story was about a single lady who got in trouble for lip syncing her music.
And her first name was Millie?
And her first name, yeah. So full disclosure, we're way too far into adulthood. I thought that was the truth.
I mean, look, it's fair. At least, look, you knew the scandal. You still knew. I think you get a lot of credit that you knew the scandal versus the actual people that were involved with it.
Well, and I knew the scandal from the take of like public opinion.
Yeah.
But after doing a deep dive on this, my opinions have completely changed. How about you?
Really?
Yeah.
I'm torn because, I mean, we can get right into it. I could talk about that, or do you want to get some info about it?
Let's give the info. So, in the late 80s, pop music was starting to explode. Enters the scene Millie Vanilli, a German band, I believe. They were German dancers and performers who were signed by an executive who pitched them to the US, and they came to America and began performing as musicians under a different name, not Millie Vanilli. And then they became Millie Vanilli in the early 80s. Okay. That's kind of the gist of the background. I'm trying to avoid giving the names of the other two guys involved in the situation yet, because I know we're going to be diving into that here in a little bit. But Rob Pilatus and Fab Morvan are the names of the artists formerly known as Millie Vanilli, and they had a debut album called Girl, It's True, produced multiple hit singles called Girl, You Know It to Be True, Blame It on the Rain, and Baby, Don't Forget My Number. Girl, You Know It's True is the only song that I had ever known. Yeah.
I may have heard Blame It on the Rain. And like I said, not because of like listening to it. Just
Right.
it sounds familiar, and I'm like, in the grand scheme of things, I may have heard it at some point. Girl, you know it's true. I know I've heard, and most recently because of the Goldbergs episode, because they actually did that on one of the episodes type of thing, or they featured the song, I think, on the episode, or
Yep.
So it was something like that. But yeah.
What's up, everybody? It's your host, Harley. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. And I just wanted to take a moment and say, go head over to our website. We do have a merch section over there. Check out some of our merch. And also, you can become a member, get exclusive discounts on merch, as well as a whole list of great benefits. Head over. It's $10 a month. I know it's a lot to ask, but it really helps support the show. So thanks again, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. So I feel like I heard it in passing because I listened to a lot of VH1 classics like countdowns, and I feel like it was probably on one of those 80s countdowns at some point. Yeah.
Right. Or you get like those deep dives into, I feel like every once in a while I scroll on TikTok and I'll get like classic TV stories about stuff, and I know I saw a couple on TikTok about Millie Vanilli and going through it,
right?
Like that. So
right. Yeah. So the success began late 80s. They were heavily featured on MTV, consistent on the radio, major tours and television appearances. They won 3 American Music Awards, including the 1990 Grammy Award for Best New Artist, which is where the biggest controversy begins.
Yes.
I'll let you take it off from there, Danny. You go ahead.
So I mean, they basically they were doing this thing where the two main guys, Rob and Fab, were not singing, and what's even weirder is they talked. Like, it's not like they were just silent performers. Like, they spoke, and they spoke with heavy accents.
Right.
So like, people like. That should have been like the first sign. Like something's a little weird here. Like there's one thing. Like I've seen plenty of like UK artists and even like Japanese artists and stuff like that. They'll learn like covers of American songs and somehow be able to actually cover it by the sound, not exactly the words. And so they can make it sound more or less like the original, like it, as if it's American English, like
right.
But they're speaking English. They just have a very thick accent, so it's very difficult for them to be singing their own written songs, technically, and have no accent coming through in their singing voices at all. Because when you're covering something, it's different. You can learn the inflections, you can do that, but when you're writing it, you're not gonna write it in a like perfectly no accent vacuum,
right?
So,
well, and that's the thing with this story is like it opened up so much more of the industry to me than I ever knew beforehand. Like spoiler alert, they didn't write the songs.
Yeah,
the songs were presented to them.
Well, yeah,
they weren't really musicians originally. They were just 2 hot German dudes.
Well, look, this is nothing new. They're still doing the music industry.
They're doing it today.
Now, it might not be lip syncing and the people that they're picking having no talent. I think the music industry has evolved on that fact. I mean, look at it as like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. Right. NSYNC and Backstreet Boys are manufactured boy bands.
Yes,
but they can actually sing. Like they have those voices, and that's why some of those members have gone on to have solo careers, like Justin Timberlake and even JC, I think from NSYNC also had a small thing. So they have the talent. They've gotten the music industry has gotten smarter in those aspects, but those were manufactured bands. There were plenty of manufactured female pop stars and stuff like that with the same kind of idea. There were TV shows. Like where it was like Nick and the band, where we're gonna put it together and write your songs and
yeah.
But even now, like we have plenty of, artists, major artists that have 18 people writing a single song.
Oh yeah.
Which is crazy to think of. Like, I will, I'll never say like, it's garbage because so many people were writing it or anything like that, because I would love to, I love the writing process and not doing it alone. I'm not the person that will sit there and like isolate myself for 2 weeks and come back with 5 new songs or anything like that. I like that give and take. So like the idea of working with someone to write music, I think is awesome. Like, whether it's an outside source that is just like, I know how to write this, like give me your ideas and I'll, let's collab type of thing, or whether it's like just your band members and bandmates and we sit together and we go, okay, this is my idea. What do you want to, can you build more from this? And then some, like same thing, like give and take. Like we're actually, spoiler alert, we're writing new music right now and we're doing that exactly. We're doing it literally piece by piece, riff and then, melody, and then like more pieces are getting put together. It's one of the greatest processes ever. So like, there's goods and bads with, having multiple people write on music, but like the major, music industry people have ghostwriters for everything.
Oh,
and that's where I think it's like, that's where they've evolved to. This is just the precursor to all of that. Like,
well, and the industry, like, why is it that the music industry seems to be the only industry that targets collaboration as a negative? Like, if you're in a business atmosphere and you're tasked with designing a new product, you have a team, you sit in a room, you collaborate ideas and figure stuff out. Like, why would we not treat music any differently? Like, well, you should welcome it.
Yeah, I definitely welcome it. And like I said, I no shade to any artists that, work with outside groups to help, or an outside producer for ideas if they give them their ideas for them to build on. I just think the music industry, not the artists themselves, the music industry is where the problem is, because they are this giant machine that has to pump out hits every year. So if you are so big that anything you put your name on is going to be big, then the music industry just says, we're going to handle it. Like, we're doing all of this type of thing. And I think it's just, that is the negative side of and then, like I said, I think it started out in this decade. And that's probably where like the trial and errors, like, hey, let's not, have them not be able to sing at all, or let's not have them, lip syncing for everything type of thing. Like they need to be able to sing, but we can manufacture what they're singing, or we can manufacture, putting the actual group together and stuff like that. They've basically evolved every decade type of thing. And that's where I think like is number one, it gets the negative from, but also I think that is the negative side of it. Cause I think, just like you said, I think collaboration, and I think, working together and having a team to write and put out the best product, I think is a definitely a good thing. But I think what skews is because, music industry, just like, a ton of other industries, is, they just want to make more money and make more money and make more money. Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Think for me, the issue becomes the dishonest part of it, where it's, if you're just open about it, like, I feel like if this whole Millie Vanilli situation, if they could go back in time and just straight out of the gate be like, hey, we are Millie Vanilli, but we have these 2 guys that also work with us and actually sing the songs, and we perform them, I feel like you wouldn't really have this issue at all. Same thing with artists. Like, nothing is more disheartening than when you find out that an artist that they wrote something. And you and I both know music is so personal. So when you're like listening to a song and you're trying to tell an artist, hey, like, you don't know how much your words have impacted my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
People all the time will say, like, that song saved my life. To find out that the person you're saying that to had nothing to do with this song, but when you go on the credits, you can't find the person that did have something to do with that. That's when it becomes a problem for me.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is not this situation though. This situation, see, the same thing. I'm kind of torn, but I truly, my opinion is I blame the record executives and the industry people. I don't blame Rob or Fab for this. They were the product. They came over here anticipating on being musicians and got told, hey guys, we think you're great. However, we're going to have some other guys sing your music and you're just going to perform it and don't say a word. So
I think I agree with you to a point. I think, the people in charge flashed a whole bunch of money, said, we're going to make you famous and we're going to do all this stuff. And they may have been like, oh, I don't know, like this is like, but like eventually, some that they agreed. So
that's true.
They knew what they were agreeing. Yeah. It wasn't like they were singing into a microphone and then it was being put into a machine and then pumped out perfectly type of thing. Like they're not singing at all and they knew it. So
yeah,
partial responsibility. I think they got pushed into it and said like, no, if you will be nothing without this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think they broke them down and stuff like that. Like everybody, you flash dollar signs and say, we're going to make you famous and popular and all this stuff. Then that's one thing. But I mean, there are, stuff where they pushed back. Like they're like, no, we want to sing. Like, can we try to sing? Stuff like that. So I don't think they felt great about it, which I completely understand. And I think that shows that it's not them fully to blame. So like I said, I agree with you to a point. But they agreed ultimately.
Yeah, you're 100% right, dude.
So in the grand scheme of things, it's definitely more the industry that was like, now we're going to make this whole, fake thing. But also, I think they got pushed into it and they reluctantly were like, yeah, we're going to do this. Like,
right.
Yeah.
So they, the deception side. So basically Millie and Vanilli, so you have Rob and Fab and they were tasked with, hey, you guys are going to be the face and we're going to hire some session singers to sing the music and you're going to perform it and we're going to pay you a large amount of money.
Right.
And you're right. They 100% agreed to that. The producer, Frank Farian is his name. I feel that it's important to put his name out there, given what he did. I think if in a court of law, if we were to be like, okay, these guys did agree, but who orchestrated, I feel like his name is the one that you kind of bounce back to. So yeah, like you said, they had the accents was a big giveaway. Flawless vocals on the actual album, no live singing during the performances, and lip syncing at every concert and TV appearance, which honestly, you did some lip syncing. How impressive to be able to, like, at every performance, you need to be able to nail this perfectly. And how many live shows have you been to where like the artist talks to the crowd, or even like they said TV appearances? I saw a video of them sitting and talking to a lady and then jumping into song. That is some very impressive, well thought out, orchestrated decision making on the part of the entire industry. Because at that point, like, how many people knew about this? You know what I mean? Like, there's so many people that had to know.
And I mean, the other thing is, like, one of those three examples that you gave, like a band that does, or an artist that has to do one of those three isn't on the same level as Millie Vanilli, because like there are, you know, places where you have to lip sync like a concert. Like I think you have to lip sync at the Super Bowl. Like everybody,
the Super Bowl, the Grammys,
right?
The MTV Music Awards, they all require it.
And I think you get the choice at SNL because we did have that Ashley Simpson, thing where she said I don't know this. We don't know the real story because I don't know Ashley Simpson personally. But she said in interviews after, the reason that she did opt to lip sync is because she was having like a lot of problems with her voice, like her voice. She lost her voice. She was getting sick,
right?
Something like that. So I guess they're given the option. I know there's plenty of artists that probably have done, you know, regular live performances on SNL and stuff like that, because you can kind of tell it's not perfect.
Oh yeah,
and stuff like that. But like, I mean, there are plenty of places where it has to be lip sync, like lip sync has to be used and stuff like that. And there are performances that, like, you know, whether or not, you know, or situations like if you're, you know, you want the show to go on, I could see some singers, you know, being like, hey, I'm a little rough. I'm going to need, you know, some help tonight, like with some stuff, like, you know, so and I mean, I've never, you know, obviously like I said, I've never lip synced live, and I never plan to, but even with me, I can feel it in my voice. Like if I'm getting over something or something like that, I'm like, this is going to be a little bit of a struggle. I can only imagine what it's like when you're, you know, that's your full-time job and stuff like that. And you're like, I can't not do the show. So like, we need to do something here. Like, so.
Well, and there, in those certain situations, like there have been cases where the reason we found out about those is because of artists not doing it. Nirvana famously was like, we're not doing it. Eminem famously went on TV and just held the microphone up during his set. So like, but I do understand the venue too, because I've looked into that before as well. Specifically the Grammys. There's an issue with the live broadcasting and utilizing live vocals. Like there's a feedback issue in the room that it would mess up the audio. So in order to broadcast it, they do that. But I'm sure that there are ways around. You know what I mean? Like you could broadcast the lip synced version. Whoa, every time.
Super dramatic.
You can lip sync the broadcasted version to the crowd, which would in turn make it to where like the audience at home gets a good show per se, and you wouldn't have to worry about it as much live, you know. But I do understand that like then the audience at home, like the vocals won't match up, or God forbid an artist does something out of the norm of the track, right? So I get it. Like it's very complicated. It's Hollywood.
It's interesting because I mean, I was a big on a very small scale, and I'm not comparing myself to any of these major artists. I'm not even comparing myself to Millie Vanilli, because I mean they were wildly more successful in their short career than I have gotten to yet. Like you know what I mean, stuff like that. So in no way am I comparing myself to bigger artists and stuff, because I'm not there yet. I'd like to be one day. But anyway, I at certain times in my musical career didn't, like, I started as like I don't even use earplugs. I don't use anything, backing tracks. I don't use anything, to now I use in-ear monitors, so I can customize my mix. I can raise or lower myself. I can raise or lower anybody else I want to in my own ears. No one's hearing it. And then we've also just started implementing backing tracks, and I think they're great. Like we sound so much more, and I mean we're a pop punk band. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not talking like we're adding in like crazy stuff or anything like that, but like, you know, we're adding in, you know, extra like synths, because we don't have a synth player, like, but they're on our album and stuff like that. So like we have backing tracks for synths now, and so like the song sounds way fuller and it sounds like really cool. And then like parts like in our song Autumn's Over, we have that interlude that's kind of got really spacey and has a lot of backing vocal tracks and stuff like that we just couldn't do because there was only 3 of us doing vocals. Now we have those punched in and then we hit our spot in those vocals, but there's like 5 other people's vocals hitting. Like, I mean, there's still us, but there's 5 different versions of us like hitting them all at the same time. So now I've gone completely to the other side of like, I need my in-ear monitors so I can adjust my mix. I need the back. Not me personally, but everybody in the band agrees that like it just sounds so much fuller, well-rounded, and just, you know, it's so much more of like a performance than just us standing up there playing the bare bones version of the song. Now it's like, you know, it's like it's oomph. It's got like that kick in when it needs to have like the extra oomph, and other times it's not because we don't need that extra part. Like.
Well, and there's that weird stereotype of like using these tools pull away from the authenticity, and it's just wrong. Like, I think that it's an outdated mindset, and honestly, like you put so much work into crafting the track, you're doing the audience a disservice by not being able to include it. You know what I mean? It's like you're doing it for the sound that you cultivated on that track.
Yeah.
It would be one thing if you were just like, we make up stuff in the back and somebody figures it out on the back end. Like, no, you did this in a studio. You said this is what we want it to sound like.
Yeah.
And you want to deliver that to the fans. And I think that most of the industry understands that now, you know? Like, that's just how it's supposed to be.
I think now that people are able to, you know, put music together, now that the tech has kind of caught up with this kind of stuff, I think it's way more acceptable and it's stuff. And like I said, I had to kind of evolve into, you know, like, this is what I want to do now. I want to be able to hear myself at this volume in my ears. I want to be able to hear everybody else. I want to be able to hear a click every once in a while, like in certain spots and, you know, everything like that. But like, I had to get to that point.
Right.
I didn't go, you know, 0 to that. Like I had to like really go, okay, will it sound better if I can hear myself? Yeah, it probably will.
and honestly, like I feel like 9 times out of 10, at least in my case, a lot of that stems from not financially being able to be that band. You try and convince yourself that it's lame or it's less authentic because you're like, I can't afford that tech.
Yeah.
So you're like,
yeah, I definitely couldn't. I mean, I got very lucky. And I mean, shout out to all of my band members because everybody brings in something special. Like, but like, yeah, one of our band members had the rig already, like that you need for in-ear system. So all we had to do was get our own in-ear, like the actual part that goes in your ears and stuff like that.
Right.
So, like, that's only, you know, a small sum in the grand scheme of things. You're not talking thousands. You're talking a couple hundred. Like, so,
yeah. So all of the smaller artists out there, just let everybody do their thing, man. It's okay.
Yeah. And be open to evolving. That's all I'm saying. We're not talking about lip sync at shows or anything like that, but just be open to evolving your sound and evolving what you're using to get to your sound and stuff like that. Because I would love to be able to stand on stage and play synth and sing everything. I don't even know how to. I don't even play synth on the album. That is all Justin. I will give him 100% of the credit for synths. He's insane. At any instrument he picks up, he's insane about it. I know this is an interview for me or for the band or anything like that, but in full transparency of wanting to, you know, give credit where credit's due. Like the synth part, like there was actually a conversation of, hey Danny, would you ever want to learn synth? And I was like, I mean, absolutely, I'd love to, but we're talking that's a couple years process before I'm doing that and singing all the songs at the same time. Like, this isn't gonna happen like tomorrow. But like, yeah, he's a madman at any instrument he picks up, and all the synth, any synth track that you hear on any of our songs and live at our shows now, all come from Justin's brain, and he's incredible at it. So, all credit to him.
Speaking of lip syncing events,
yes,
the moment that everything turned to shit, for Millie Vanilli. So the day is July 21st, 1989, during the MTV concert in Connecticut. I believe it was the MTV Awards. While performing Girl You Know It's True, the backing track malfunctioned and began repeating the same line over and over.
I know. In the grand scheme of things, that has to be terrifying. Like, I just don't. I like I said, I've never lip synced to any lip sunk. Is it past tense?
Right.
Sunk to anything. But yeah, the sheer panic and terror that must have come over them. Like, oh, I can't even. Have you ever seen the movie The Rocker?
Yes.
Yeah,
I love that.
That happens at the end of that. And
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies, by the way. Like,
it's
but yeah, like that. You see that happen. It's basically a shot for shot of that.
Yeah,
like they're too old to be able to sing their original tracks and stuff like that. So the artist, not the main group, but like the
antagonist. Yep.
And I always make antagonist group is too old to be able to sing their own stuff, and so they're lip syncing to everything, and exactly the same thing happens. Like, he drops his microphone and the vocals keep going, and then it gets stuck on a line as he's like kicking it around and trying to grab it, and then everybody just boos and they just walk off stage like defeated.
What a great movie!
I love that movie.
That movie's so good, dude. Rainn Wilson.
Yeah. That's when I really started appreciating him. Like, I liked him as Dwight on The Office, but like you tend to, like, he's like the guy that's like going back and forth with Jim, and you kind of more always like Jim in those situations. But like, that movie made me like Rainn Wilson. Just he's the
a fantastic actor, man.
Yeah,
so good. So yeah, Rob and Fab, they run off the stage. The crowd starts booing. That pretty much solidified the end of their career. And again, we're talking about like so many people in the industry had to have already known.
Right.
The rumors were spreading. People were questioning things about their performances. People were questioning why every time they were on TV, they couldn't really talk. The industry tried to get ahead of it. They sent Rob and Fab back out a few weeks later to do an interview on the situation, to which, interestingly enough, that we brought this up at the beginning, they announced that the reason that they use backing tracks was because they're German and didn't speak English, and that this was their way of getting into American media, while saying all of that in pure, clean cut English. Like, it's such a weird thing to do, to be like, oh no, you don't understand, we can't speak English while speaking English.
Yeah, this is the part where, like, we'd already said it, this is the part where if they were just like, hey man, like, let us level with you. Someone offered us a crap ton of money to because they thought we looked cool, which is absolutely true. There's, like, they look awesome, like, type of thing. Someone came up with this as a plan, and yes, our bad, we agree. But like, can you blame us? Like, everybody out there has that little inkling of, I would love to be famous, like type of thing. And if somebody like backed into your driveway and was like, you're coming with me, like you're going to be famous, like, I think there's a chance that everybody's going to say yes to that, like, without really hesitation. But yeah, this was the moment they could have, like, really been like, look, let us level with you. This is what happened. Yes, our bad, but like, can you blame us? Like, and then I feel like public perception of them as people would not have been as negative in this situation, type of thing.
Absolutely. Well, and speaking of the public eye, this is when things really start to collapse. Like, when it falls, it falls, man.
Exactly.
So the session singer, Charles Shaw, had to publicly come out and be like, hey, I'm the voice that you love.
Right.
Which really, like, such a bad move to them too. Like, they were told they weren't hot enough to be famous. You know what I mean? Like, the one guy was like a really big, heavy set guy, and he was literally told, like, sorry, man, you're not hot enough to be on stage.
Yeah, which is crazy because there are so many artists out there of every single like look, every single body type, every single anything now that you can think of. And if they have talent, that's it. You're going to find an audience. If you have talent, period. No matter what you look like at all. If you have level of talent, you're going to find an audience that likes you for what you're doing, type of thing. And so it's crazy that in that time, someone could really convince someone who really had that talent that you need to hide yourself and only have like your product only be what is visible in public, type of thing.
And so he fights for the rights to his songs. Then you have Fab and Rob have to come out and start issuing returns on tickets and issuing refunds on album sales.
Yeah.
And then from there, obviously the public deemed them as frauds. So the backlash, I'm sure they got a lot of negativity on the streets. I'm sure every interview was revolving around that and dissing on them. To top it all off, the label dropped them.
Right.
So like they literally lost everything in an instant.
Yeah.
I know that we said that this was going to be the one that we kind of get away from the death on. But tragically, Rob did end up passing away at the age of, I think it was 32.
Oh wow.
From alcohol and drug abuse. And his mental state just never recovered from that. Luckily, Fab did go on to revitalize his music career, study music and truly study songwriting and start doing better. And I believe he's still going at it today.
Oh wow.
They had their Grammy revoked.
Yep.
The album was pulled from the stores, tours were canceled, lawsuits were filed, and man, that's crazy. And their name became synonymous with this event. This, like if you say Millie Vanilli on the street, that's immediately what people say.
Right.
Oh, the lip sync thing.
Right. Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's intense.
And I mean, look, it's really, I can't imagine how that level of being caught at that level to not be able I can't imagine, being able to go, look, this was our bad. And be able to, especially because, just like you were saying, I'm sure behind the scenes, they were being pressured to say only, certain things because they were trying to damage control and get ahead of everything. And then they just were like, nope. And then they just dropped them and everything fell out and stuff like that. So I get it. But like I said, had they at that moment kind of said look, explain the whole thing, leveled with everyone and just said we're really sorry. We get it. This isn't an excuse. We take full responsibility. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think I'm not saying they would have had, an amazing, it wouldn't have been oh, Millie Vanilli's back. I don't think it would have been something like that, but I think they would have been able to, maybe both of them would have been able to have, a different music career afterwards, or maybe just, it wouldn't have been so negative to those two in general. It wouldn't have fully just done that, but because they kind of, and like I said, I'm not faulting them. I'm sure they were being pressured by whoever was behind the scenes to you have to do this. This is we're writing for you. You have to say this, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? PR or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure like you said at the very beginning, Time Machine, I'm sure if they could get a do-over, they would have, and maybe they wouldn't have, done the do-over at the very beginning, but maybe at this point they would have been we've got a different outcome. Let's get ahead of it and say you know what, we messed up. Maybe that's where the do-over part would have started and stuff like that. And you just never know. I mean, you just never, it's really weird to ever think about, time machines, multiverse, stuff like that. But yeah, there's a universe out there where they did fess up, and like maybe they're both alive and like major music producers right now or something like that. Like multiverse is real, people.
I'll tell you what, man. If this story has taught me anything, I believe in genies, like 100%. This is the classic. I'm gonna give you what you wish for, but you better word it the right way.
Right.
This is the story of Aladdin for sure.
But it's also it's that. But it's also they're kind of a victim of their own success, because like if they only got to a certain point, not like as huge as they exploded and stuff like that, it would have been relatively easy to keep it in wraps. And even if something like had happened live and stuff like that, then it's a smaller thing and it's a smaller issue. It's not millions of people are seeing it or stuff like that. So it really is. You can also say that they were a victim of their own success in the sense of they were just so big. Like it was an accident waiting to happen at that point. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So, and I mean, I also think it's something that it's really hard. And I'm going back and forth in my brain right now about this. I don't know if something like that on that level could be orchestrated now, but the other side of me is going, well, what about the tech that exists now?
Right.
Like how crazy different the tech is. They could literally be singing into a microphone. Because I've heard stories and not to throw shade at any major artist or anything like that, but I've heard stories that now you can even do
autotune.
Autotune live. People are singing into the real microphones. They're actually singing. So if you were standing right in front of the stage, you would hear them singing to a certain degree. Not that much, because obviously it's really loud and stuff like that. But they're still doing it. But then it's going through a computer before it goes to the house, and they are just correcting every note and stuff like that perfectly, which is something that exists. 100%. It's proven that it exists and stuff like that. So I wonder, I'm so torn on whether this could happen. Like, part of me is like, we know so much more about everyone now, like because of just everything,
accessibility.
The internet, TikTok, Instagram, everything. We know so much more. So I don't think an artist could come out of nowhere. And I think, just like you've said all of this time, there had to have been so many people that knew about it. And I think that if something like that was happening now, that would be the downfall. Someone in the line of knowing would leak it, or would be like, better not get on my bad side, or else I'll tell everybody. Like, so like they would have to be like hush money, like everywhere type of thing. So yeah, but I'm so torn on that, because like I said, tech is so much more advanced. Like, it's crazy.
and the auto-tune thing. Number one, if you're listening, and you are hearing this and you didn't know, like, that's 100% happening. Like, if you're going to live shows, 100% of the time is happening right in front of your face. But my question is, do you think that because it's become so industry standard at this point, because let's be honest, every recording, if you go to a studio, they are correcting your vocals, even if it's minute.
Well, yeah,
because it's the difference between perfection and like not perfection.
Right. And look, I mean, I'll be fully transparent. Yeah, I mean, I don't use autotune, but there's different programs. One is called Melodyne. And Melodyne, basically, you pick a section of what you just recorded, and you bring it in, and it'll show you all of the notes that you hit. And if you go, oh yeah, that one syllable is not supposed to be there, it's actually supposed to be, one notch down or one notch up. Those are the little nudgings that happen to our stuff.
Corrections,
right. And the way I look at it is, this is something that we are putting our all into, and we want people to listen to it a lot. we don't want to have the imperfections. The imperfections come at the live show. And that's because, I mean, you've watched, a couple of the videos. I bounce up and down live shows like crazy. So like even I don't want to be boring. So like our live shows, I'm always going to be out of breath. I may not hit certain notes because I just don't have the same amount of airway that I would have, if I was just standing there in a booth or not moving it or anything like that. So the imperfections, but fun show part of it, you're going to hear the imperfections there. But what I want the recording to be is absolutely as perfect as it can possibly be. It's the same thing in my head. It's the same thing. If you're just making gentle, nudges here and there, that's the same as, recording a guitar 15 times and taking the, one note here and there to make the plucking sound perfect here or stuff like that. You want everything across the board to be 100% perfect. I think the time to put on the show and to be in perfection is live. And that's the way I will always look at it that way.
100%. I mean, full transparency. Like when you go into a studio, number one, it's just a given that whoever's producing the song is going to be like, hey, most of the time they don't even tell you they did it.
Yeah.
Like it's just that standard of like, yeah, we corrected any imperfections in the vocal line. Timing is another issue. Like if you're in a studio and you're off by like half a second, they're going to go in and correct that, which still uses the same program to correct your vocal line.
Right.
So, and guitar, same thing. Like you just said, they're going to go in, they're going to make sure that sound you wanted is in there. Hey, I really want to pick up on the plucking sound on this acoustic part. Cool. We're going to amplify these notes on the down strum. We're going to change the pitch so that it sounds like the pluck sound as you're going down. Like there are just so many things that are done in the recording process. It doesn't mean that the songs are less valuable or less authentic or that you're phoning in anything. It's just these are the industry standards, and in order to be a part of the industry, you have to meet the standards. If you're not meeting the standards, you're not going to get airplay. Right. If you're not going to get airplay, it's not going to get heard by anybody.
And I mean, at a certain point, it's like, so you could sit there for hours and hours, especially with your own music. You could sit there for hours and redo the same part and like say like one syllable was just one note wrong or one half note down or something like that. You could eventually get there, but like you do 2 or 3 takes and then you're like, I'm going to go crazy. Cause like I get super hyper focused on stuff like, and it's funny when we do we do another episode of the Hook and Bridge or when we do another episode of that with my band, I would be more than happy to explain it because Justin also, shout out to him. He is the person that I always want to be there when I'm recording vocals and stuff because he will get very ticky-tack about that syllable. You could have done that one better.
Right.
But like after me doing it so many times, I'm just like, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
If I can't get this, because I'll get super hyper focused on one thing and that'll be the only thing that I can think about. And then I'll throw myself off. And then, so like you get it to as good as you possibly can. And then you just go, okay, we're going to nudge this syllable. You ended because you were getting ready to do another line. You ended down a little, just, a half a step down. You need it to be this up right here. And that's it type of thing. And that I think that's great because like I said, and you said, you want that product to be perfect. You want that to be presented like this is the song. This is the way the songs are supposed to sound perfectly.
Right.
And then when you go and do everything live, you're like, this is what the band is supposed to sound like live.
Exactly.
Because we're here to entertain and go crazy. And that's like, you know what I mean? Like that's a whole different thing. And I think that's fair. And I think that's absolutely, within that, you're not tricking anyone.
Right.
In that, like you're doing 2 different things. Like a show is one thing and a recorded album that you want perfect is an absolutely completely different thing. I don't know where I fall on the live autotune thing because
it's tricky.
I know because, and here's the reason why and I've already said this before, way lower on the totem pole than the artists that we're talking about that are getting live, vocal adjustment and stuff like that. We're talking like top tier people. And I don't even want to name anybody because I'm afraid that like I might throw shade at somebody who doesn't do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't really know. Like, yes, the thought is probably it's happening with a lot of major artists and stuff like that. But there may be a few that it's not. Like, we just don't know. Or maybe it's there, but they're only using it 1% versus another artist that might use it 90%. Like, you know what I mean? We just don't know. So I don't want to name any names of any artist that just pops into my head or anything like that. But I can't imagine playing stadiums for 9 months in a row, 6 months in a row, almost every single night, having to perform for an hour, maybe even more, depending on what artists we're actually talking about and stuff like that, and still being crystal clear and perfect and stuff like that. So like in my mind, because I am so much lower on that totem pole and like not doing this as a full-time job and stuff like that, I don't know. Like I can say it for me, where I'm at right now, would never have any kind of vocal adjustment live. More than like I think they put reverb on sometimes, like if you're in a big place or something, they add 10% reverb or something like that, and that's on the soundboard. Like that's not us. That's the sound guy might put a little bit of reverb on to make your voice sound bigger. Stuff like that. Like that's not like a vocal adjustment. That's just an effect. But yeah, like where I'm at now, I don't think I would ever do it live, but like I just don't know what it's like to be that massively big, play that much, have that much on your shoulders, and play that much night after night, day in, day out.
Yeah, we're talking like 200 plus shows.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's 200 hours. Let's say everybody plays about an hour. That's 200 hours of singing the same 16 songs every single night,
and you're letting people down if you get a crappy night, because think about how much tickets are for those artists and stuff like that. Like if you're spending $1,000 for 2 tickets to see your favorite artist, like or whoever's favorite artist, that type of thing, you want them to sound as good as possible. You don't want to be the night that they decided not to use autotune, or the night that they decided like, we'll be fine, like type of thing.
Or the whole issue of like everybody being so accessible now. You're at that show, it's a bad night, you record it, you go to social media and tell everybody how terrible somebody was. Like it's amazing.
I mean, it happens. It happens now, and it's not even the difference of artists lip syncing or having vocal adjustments and stuff from their mics. It's the difference of sometimes they just push themselves for too long because they don't want to cancel a tour, or they don't want to cancel a show. So artists will go out there, and we're talking like bigger pop punk bands, like not even like the super mainstream bands. We're talking like medium tier bands. Sometimes they put those artists will push themselves, they'll get sick and they'll still push through it and stuff like that, and they'll sound bad, and they know they sound bad, but they're like, we can't cancel, like we can't cancel the show. And so like even then they get a little bit of negative crap for that, and you're just like, guys, people get sick, we're all human. Like at some point we're gonna get sick. Would you rather we had canceled your show, or would you rather we be at the have a show type of thing? Like, so I'm really torn. I'm really torn with all of that. I mean, if it's not blatantly to fool everyone, I think it's done with good intention. Like I think you got to kind of go to the intention side of things. And I'm not even talking about the industry, because I think there's a dark room with really high industry execs and stuff like that are like, we have so much money in this, we have to do. I'm talking about the artists themselves. I think if the intention is, I don't want to let my fans down, I don't think I have a problem with that. With live vocal adjustments and stuff like that. I think it really gets into where we talk about the big distinction between Millie Vanilli and kind of what the tech we have now and stuff like that. Like, so, but like I said, I don't know. There could be some artists out there that have never sang a single word ever.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
In studio or live? Like, we don't know. We just don't know.
Well, so speaking of the industry and Millie Bobby Brown, no, Millie Vanilli. Let's talk about like we talked about earlier, the blame. You know, I'm in the camp of, I think that Frank Farian holds at least 80% of the blame, from cultivating this idea of this band, bringing these artists over here, promising them the moon, and granted, slightly delivering. You know, there's he did technically deliver on his promises, but like, I don't know, man, it's dirty. Like, it just screams dirty, you know? And specifically to the poor artists who spent years in the dark and didn't see a dime for their hard work. That's real messed up to do to somebody.
Yeah.
The other thing too is, like you said, Rob and Fab, they accepted the terms and agreement.
Right.
You gotta read that TNA every time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
I think I agree with you on the percentages. I like I've said multiple times, I don't think Rob and Fab are, you know, blameless in this situation, but they definitely are to a lesser extent, and I agree with that. I think they had an opportunity to kind of, obviously not change the narrative or anything, because at that point it was too late. They were caught. Now, if they had all of a sudden, you know, everything was so great and come out and did a breaking interview and really just told everybody, that would have been 100% like they were good. Like they, you know what I mean? Like they were like, hey guys, we got to tell you this crazy thing, like blah, blah. But I think I really feel bad that at that point, and like I said, cannot imagine the amount of pressure that they had when it started going bad and everything like that. Cannot imagine what that felt like to be able to, you know, to have to kind of sit there and kind of talk about it. But so I don't blame them for not going, look, this was our bad. Like, you know, I don't blame them, but that is the moment that they could have really kind of taken their part of the blame and kind of redirected the narrative and the blame to where it really should have gone, instead of, you know, this is kind of the legacy type of thing, and it's stuck with them.
Right. Exactly.
So I feel bad for them, but they're not 100% innocent.
Absolutely. So basically at the end of all of this, they did go on and try their solo careers. Unfortunately, like I said, Rob did pass away from addiction and just some mental illness. He really struggled getting past this. Fab thankfully was able to overcome, pursued his music career, still in the music industry today, still performing. Like, there's videos of him from last year. Like,
oh wow,
yeah, he's still doing it, man. So he even did a Tiny Desk concert.
Really?
So yeah. So I mean, he's definitely out there doing his thing. They got blacklisted, which is horrible. And like we've talked about, why all of this still matters, that, you know, the AI going around right now is going to be major in the industry. The autotune, exactly this entire issue, if you think about it, it's fooling an audience. Like, especially like we talked about, the intent is what matters. Are you doing this intentionally to fool the audience, or are you doing it with the goodness of wanting to make sure that you perform well for your fans? How heavy is the auto-tune from the get-go? And just the image first artists in general. Like, I've talked about that several times on our other show. The industry favors the beautiful, and unfortunately there's beauty in everybody, but those who are not conventionally that way still have a great voice that deserves to be heard.
Right. So, and I mean, at that point, and that's something I 100% agree with, because like I'm not one of the pretty people, but I hope, because in the grand scheme of things, of at least the level at you know that I've been to now, like in music and stuff like that, I feel like it really is kind of there. If you have talent and you're, you know, true to your own talent and true to your, like, it sounds silly, true to yourself, true to your own talent, the right audience will find you, or you will find the right audience and stuff like that. And I think that is one really good thing with kind of the accessibility for being able to record now and to be able to put yourself out now, because it's like before it was really kind of, you know, you make it out and you get big or you don't. But now it's like you could blow up on TikTok, you could blow up on Instagram, like, but you being yourself, being your artist, playing your own songs, singing your own stuff, like, you know what I mean? Like you can blow up by yourself without the music industry believing in you, type of thing. And I think that is hopefully, you know, the way that we continue to go. Like there's always going to be, just like you said, the select few super high tier people that the industry is like, oh, this is a moneymaker. We're bringing this person no matter what. We're going to surround them with the best writers. We're going to surround them with the best, you know, group, like whatever. There's always going to be that, because like I've said multiple times, you know, I think the music industry is, you know, has those people at the top where it's just like, we need money, we need to make money. This needs to make money. So there's always going to be that level of things. But I think, and I hope this continues, that because of the accessibility to be able to get yourself out there with, you know, very little, I hope that we do start seeing, you know, more mid to bigger level artists that, you know, really did kind of make it their own way. Because that's my hope too. Like, you know what I mean? Like I hope that's a continued trend is my point. Like,
absolutely. So a little piece of advice to everybody: if you're a musician or just a creator of any kind, honestly, repetition and like exposure are the two biggest things. Like the algorithm and our brains love repetition.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed how you hate a new song when you first hear it, and then the 15th time you've heard it, you start to like it? And then like the 100th time you start to hate it again. But then a couple years down the road, you're like, oh, remember that stupid trumpet song back in the day? I love that song. Or Cheerleader. Like nobody liked Cheerleader, and now it's nostalgic. So, I mean, that's all it really, that is the answer. Like if you really break it down, that is the answer. The industry fills our brains with the same sound over and over and over because they know we love it. So until we start breaking away from that cycle, these Millie Bobby Brown, Millie Vanilli stories will continue.
Watch out, 11's coming for you.
For sure, man. Stranger Things on the brain right now. Oh man. This is the dark side of music, guys. I'm so privileged to get to hang out with Danny and talk about these stories. Danny, tell the people where we can find you.
Pretty much everywhere. With you can find my band anywhere. Just search "Just Happy to Be Here" on all the major, you know, music outlets or social media outlets. You can find me personally at Danny Auto pretty much everywhere. Also, you know, just playing video games sometimes on Twitch, or, you know, doing anything, talking with you here.
Oh yeah. And I'm Harley. I'm the host of the Hook and Bridge podcast. I do this show with Danny. We have a third show that's out right now called Off the Record, which is a lot of fun. So yeah, you can find any Hook and Bridge anything, you're going to see my face. So
Hook and Bridge podcast is a very awesome podcast. If you like music interviews, I 100% recommend it. I'm hooked on that one. So I love that podcast.
Hell yeah. It's been real, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us and exploring these wild cases.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
See you later.